Welcome, folks. I'm Jaby, Koay, joined by ACHARA, KIRK.
What's up?
This is going to be a twofer today. First, we're going to look at Pinocchio, and then you're going to see our reaction to Willow, which will follow this one. I imagine our discussion for Pinocchio will be much shorter than our discussion for Willow was. We'll be more efficient with it. Just stick around for our reaction and discussion for Willow if you could be so kind. I think you'll enjoy it. We've got this one in front of us from Walt Disney Studios, or Disney Plus. It's starring Tom Hanks and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Wow.
I don't know who's who. I think Tom Hanks is Pinocchio, definitely.
Yes.
You know, he definitely has that Pinocchio vibe.
I think that would be perfect casting.
Oh, Keegan-Michael Key's in here. Learning on the Fly, Lorraine Bracco, Luke Evans, Cynthia Erivo, Benjamin Evan Ainsworth.
Cool.
All of them just as famous as Tom Hanks. You guys, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and pretty please vote this up to let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Here we go. Oh, that one.
I'm like, I don't know, man. Okay, that makes me feel better. I love a Robert Zemeckis and Tom Hanks pairing.
Yeah, they did Forrest Gump.
And the Polar Express. Oh, Kitty.
Starlight, star bright, first star I see tonight. I wish I may, I wish I might have the wish I wish tonight.
When you wish upon a star.
How dare you, Disney, with this music? The boy. Give us a hint of it.
Barely.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Terrence, streaming on Disney Plus.
Hold up. I gotta get a look at this boy. Where is it?
I mean,
Hold on. Calm down. Right there.
it basically looks like the cartoon.
That's what they're aiming for, is like hitting that real nostalgia factor, good and strong.
Even a lot of the other characters, like Jiminy Cricket and whatnot, they all kind of still maintain more of a cartoony vibe, I feel. Like with the CGI and whatnot, it's not like they're trying to go for full-on realism.
Oh, I legit thought that was like a real cricket that they trained for that role.
No, it wasn't.
Costume and hat.
It wasn't Jaby Koay, although that is possible. But, you know, crickets have rights these days. And they're not working them on sets like they used to.
PETA's gonna be all over that shit.
Yes, they would.
No, this looks cool. I mean, I'm definitely down to watch it. I feel like I've been burned by the last few of these. The Lion King was all right. Initially, I liked The Lion King, then I watched it a second time, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know, man. Because I watched it at a screening through, because we're part of the press screening for Disney, and then there was like a real 3D screening, and I was like, I think I'm good.
No, do you know what it was? Like, it was still really nice. Like, they did a really good job of translating the cartoon into live action, but it was like, the animation was so good though. Did you really need to do it in live action and make it like frame for frame exactly
Are you talking about the cartoon?
For the most part. Oh no, the live action.
The live action animation was so good? Or the cartoon was so good?
No, animation and cartoon is the same, no?
Okay, the 90s cartoon was so good.
Yes.
You're saying, why did you need to make it live action? That's
exactly, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm making sure is communicated.
Do you guys understand?
Yeah. No, because you made it sound like the animation was so good on the live action. Maybe I'm overcomplicating it, but to me it sounded like you were saying the live action animation was so good. Like you were complaining about it.
No,
okay.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was complaining about that.
No, I know that now.
I mean, it was good. It was good, but like it was just a copy of the cartoon. And then at some point you're just like, but why? And yeah, so like you, when they said, from the studio that brought you Beauty and the Beast and the Lion King, and I was like, why do you have to remind me of that?
Beauty and the Beast was all right. It's not something I would revisit. Mulan was... And so Lion King, I do remember enjoying it the first time-ish. And then I watched it a second time and I was like, yeah, I don't want to come back to this. I like the cartoon so much better. There's something about it that's just more, maybe it's a thing with my childhood, but then Aladdin really upset me. I was so upset about Aladdin. I'm cautiously optimistic with each one of these. Each one of them going forward, I'm like, okay, we'll see how it goes. Dumbo worked on me better than all the other ones afterwards. I know that's an unpopular opinion. Like, not everybody liked Dumbo, but I was so removed from Dumbo that I was able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, the nostalgia factor wasn't quite there. And so I thought, oh, that's kind of a nice update. You know, I like Colin Farrell and all that. So this, while I watched Pinocchio a bunch as a kid, I'm not as close to it as I was with Aladdin or Mulan or Lion King.
Right. Yeah. I feel like those three for kids of our generation were like the top.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm waiting for the Pocahontas one. But anyway, Pinocchio, I'm like, I can get on board with this. And I like Tom Hanks. And so I think that it's cool that they decided to replicate how Pinocchio looks in the cartoon. I'm like, all right, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's actually quite smart. It's like bringing back James Earl Jones to play Mufasa again. It's like there are some things you need to retain in order to keep people, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's like that's a smart move to bring over some things from the original.
Sure.
And in this instance, it is the way that Pinocchio looks.
Yeah, and like overall, it looks very cute.
Yeah.
You know, the world is sweet, and Tom Hanks is awesome.
All right, so you guys, here's our stuff for Willow. This one somehow flew under my radar. Willow official teaser trailer from Disney Plus. I am personally very, very excited for this one because I grew up watching Willow. I was a big fan of that film as a kid. Watched it at least dozens of times as a kid. You know, back in the VHS days when you had nothing to do. There was no iPads. There was no Netflix. There was no Amazon Prime Video. There was no Disney Plus. There was just VHS tapes and TV. I ruined that tape probably watching it so many times. It's a fun movie. It's a really fun film.
I've never seen this film. I mean, I've never seen the original Willow. I was obsessed with like Labyrinth. That was my jam.
Same family.
Yeah.
Ish.
There is a story
It's pretty.
of a child destined to be an empress. And the unlikely hero who would protect her.
Oh my God, he's back. Oh, I can't believe they got him back.
There is a balance between all things. Light and shadow. Good and evil. When that balance is upset, the universe corrects.
Wow, that's so cute.
The world needs you again. It needs your magic.
Into the unknown.
Oh, wow.
That's where we must go.
Oh, damn. All this
Wow.
nostalgia is like tripping me out lately.
Oh my
Between this and
gosh.
Top Gun, and that's super cool. I need to watch the original again. It's been a minute since I watched the original, obviously, because I haven't seen it since I was in my 10s, probably younger than 10 years old. But there are things that you recognize from like just your memory, like the wand that he has. It's got a very distinct look to it. The music, obviously our main guy, Willow. That's so great that they brought him back. This is like literally like kind of like Top Gun Maverick. Like 30 years later, they're bringing back the OG dude. It's too bad Val Kilmer's health isn't like what it was before because he was the guy who was alongside Willow in the original film. There's a lot of great laughs in that movie. That film is actually the one that made me want to like roll down the snow because like there's a scene where Val Kilmer somehow ends up in a tussle or something and ends up creating a snowball and crashing into a cart or something like that during an action sequence. There's dragons and whatnot, or I don't remember if it was a dragon, but there's like all kinds of magical creatures and whatever. It's going to be dated. The effects are going to be dated by today's standards.
Sure.
But it's a fun movie. It's all I remember.
Well, I think there's something about, watching things when you're a kid. And even though, maybe the effects were dated. I mean, at that time it wasn't, right? And then when you watch it as a child, there's just something so magical about that. And it just kind of becomes a part of the fabric of who you are. Yeah. Obviously, I didn't have the same experience as you watching that teaser because I don't have that background. Willow wasn't something that I grew up with.
It's something that you would like a lot.
I probably would because I love fantasy.
Yeah, it's magic and adventure and fantasy and comedy and action. It's got everything that you'd want in a film from that era. It's like, it's really good.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at this one, I'm like, oh yeah, it feels like a lot of the shows that I really enjoy, like most recently Wheel of Time. I'm kind of getting that vibe.
Well, Wheel of Time is more skewing adult.
It is more skewing adult, whereas this is more family.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting that like kid-friendly family vibe, and I think that's great, you know, because as much as I enjoy fantasy and I appreciate when there are shows that are geared towards adult fantasy lovers, it is nice to see something that is just like really wholesome and still has that sense of adventure and fun, you know, a little bit of thrill and scares, enough for a child, but not kind of going too crazy with that.
It's become kind of a dichotomy of extremes where you have something that's just for like babies or something, like cartoons, and it's not really an adventure, and then like the hard art kind of stuff as far as programming is concerned, because with movies most of it is PG-13, you know, because they got to sell it to as many people as possible. Anthony Mackie's like, we got to sell to 16-year-olds and China. As far as TV goes, it feels like it's become very edgy, and that's most of what you're seeing out there, especially ever since Game of Thrones. It's like everything is basically like Excalibur level or harder. And so are you familiar with Excalibur? Excalibur was like King Arthur, but for grown-ups back in the 80s as well, I think.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, but like back then, they actually tried to make things for like, you know, different age groups. And so this one definitely was for, I mean, there's some violence in there. I feel like I remember seeing a creature's head get chopped off at one point, but it's definitely more family friendly, and we don't have that anymore. And so, at least as far as I can tell, it would be nice to have more of that. And, you know, what more perfect place than Disney Plus to host that kind of programming, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a nice gateway drug into fantasy and lore and all that stuff for kids. You know what I mean? For young people who can't watch the Game of Thrones or the Wheel of Time and anything like that, or even shows like the Shannara Chronicles and stuff like that. Even that's a little bit edgy for kids.
That's more teen, I would say.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's pushing it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how violent this is going to get. I don't imagine it's going to get too much more than the original did. So I'm very happy about this. I will totally like sit and binge watch. I mean, I don't know if they're releasing it all at once or if it's going to be week to week, but it's like that kid inside me coming out. I can't wait for this.
I mean, it's super smart as well, right? Like, so many people who loved these movies and shows back in the day are now at that age where they're having children and having families. And so there's just something really sweet and really special about being able to share the things that you loved as a child with your kids.
Sure.
So hopefully it's a good update and it's fun and engaging and something that the whole family can enjoy.
I hope it's more than 6 episodes. God dang it, Disney Plus. Always with the 6 episodes. Like every single Disney Plus show that's big is 6 episodes, and it frustrates me because I feel like it's got to be more.
Well, I feel like this isn't as big as, say, some of the other stuff we've been watching on Disney Plus, and it might be just because it is skewing a little bit younger.
It's also a less popular property. For whatever reason, this is more of almost a cult following.
Sure, yeah.
You know, as opposed to something like Top Gun or Star Wars or... And it's not that Top Gun is anywhere near Star Wars, but like,
or any Marvel
property, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm really, really happy that there is an audience for this and that they are putting the money into it and they're bringing it back, because this was a special part of my childhood. This gave me a similar feeling to what I got when I watched the Top Gun trailer or teaser. And then we just watched Top Gun. If you guys haven't seen it yet, I'm going to tell you a tad bit about the opening right now. Nothing like spoilery, but in the opening, they mirror a lot of the shots from the original Top Gun and the music, and it's great. I love it so much. It might come off to some people as pandering to that audience, like, remember this? But I fucking loved it.
It didn't feel that way, though. I think about Top Gun was that it built on the nostalgia, but then it created its own story.
That's definitely happening here.
Which is I think that's the best way to do it. It's to kind of nuance the nostalgia for the people who are familiar with the franchise, but then have enough new stuff and be its own thing. It's kind of like standing on the shoulders of giants, right? Like, you needed to have the original in order to take it further, but you need to still become your own thing. Yeah.
Just looking at some of the shots in this trailer, I'm like, this is definitely going to be more epic than the original in terms of just the scope of it. Like, they had that one shot of just overlooking the city and whatnot. I'm like, I don't remember anything that epic looking. Like I remember a castle, and I remember monsters and magic and like spells and whatnot being cast, almost like Harry Potter or whatever, by Willow. You know, because I forget what he was trying to do. I don't know if he's trying to make a bird or something, but it's like all this like fuzzy memories. It's been so long. But yeah, like I feel like this is going to be more epic, and it's definitely going. It's like this whole new thing. I don't know how much they're going to reference the original as in like, remember this, because I feel like most people just have a general concept of Willow and not too many of the specifics beyond the wand and the fact that Willow is this hero.
Well, that's kind of like my frame of reference.
And the music as well.
For the Never-Ending Story. I watched it when I was so little. The only thing I remember is like the cute dog thing that flies.
I used to call him, Goofy. Because to me, it looked like Goofy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I think Never-Ending Story, it's that kind of thing where people might remember the pendant. They might remember the name Sebastian. And they might remember the dog. And then there's two movies, right? Because I saw the second movie before the first one, I think.
Okay.
And they might remember the Atreyu. Is that his name? The horse?
I can't remember shit.
Is it Atreyu the guy or the horse? I just remember a scene in the forest where the horse dies, and it's so miserably sad. And then in the second one, there was a scene where Sebastian's trying to, I think his name's Sebastian, he's trying to cross this land, and there's like these statues with lasers on it or something. That's like another magical movie, but that was like a hybrid of modern and fantasy. Because it was the book. The Never-Ending Story.
Right.
So somehow I got wrapped up in the book. Yeah, like this is taking me down nostalgia land because I remember watching Never-Ending Story. There's a scene where Sebastian has to do this high dive. Mm-hmm. I'm about to ruin the movie for you. He has to do this high dive right at the beginning of the film, and he can't because he says he's getting cramps. He's lying because he's just afraid of like the high dive. At the end of the movie, in order to get back home, he has to do a high dive into a waterfall. It's like way harder than the thing he had to do back in actual real life. And he manages to do it and get back home. During the course of the film, he's like losing all of his memories trying to get back to his dad. Like he's just trying to get back before he loses all his memories.
I don't remember anything. I just remember the dog.
Yeah, his dog's fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, we should definitely watch this. We should do a watch along to this because it's as if I've never watched it. I just like, it's been so long.
I literally have never watched that movie.
This would be a fun watch along.
Yeah.
You guys, thanks so much for hanging out and listening to us ramble. Hashtag Willow for life. Put that in the comments if you're still here. Thanks again for hanging out. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA KIRK.
Peace out.